uppercut, uppercut, sonic boom! Well, hello there humans, of these earthlings, hope you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too, welcome back to the channel, I'm Bushka, and I want to talk to you today about update 1.7 and what happened with the DMRs in update 1.7. And where it's actually ended up. Because I did do a video on this, and it just was really interesting to see what they're doing with different weapons in PUBG Mobile and what they're trying to do with the meta and how it's actually gone. And I've got to tell you, it's not really affected the game at all. There's certainly been some changes in terms of the way DMRs perform. I'm not a big fan of the Mini. I know it's useful at times, but even this has not really made it the gun that I thought it might have become. But I am happy to tell you that the SLR and the SKS, the SLR particularly is a joke now, it is really, really good, have both blossomed with the changes. The changes lowered recoil for the SLR and the SKS. They lowered recoil recovery, more importantly, which is the time it takes for the reticle to come from the peak of the recoil when you fire the gun back to the center of the reticle or back to where it lands. But it hasn't changed the game. And they also improved bullet speed, sorry, that was the big thing. So the Mini and the QBU used to have the best bullet speed, 937 meters a second for the QBU, 1,000 meters a second for the Mini. Well, the SLR is now 937 meters a second, which is super quick. And the SKS is 909 meters a second. That's pretty bloody fast, and it means you don't have to lead them by much anymore, and they're just outstanding. But they still can't do things like this. This is a Kar 98K. This is a pretty standard Kar 98K game for me. I run the Kar 9 because what it can do is stop people dead. As the game has got more and more difficult because people get better and better, you've got to be strong enough in terms of your skill level and your loadout to compete. And running a DMR requires people to sit still. If they're not sitting still, then you're not going to get the job done because you need to hit multiple shots to clear them, okay? This guy's going to try and take out of there in the car, and I do with the Kar 9 what the Mini can't do. I hit him in the head once, and that gets rid of him. The SLR is better like this too, and it's not always one shot's going to clear him. Like sometimes you've got to hit them multiple times, and I understand that. It's not always going to be a perfect storm for a bolt action. But the reason the SLR is so strong is because it's got 57.9 base damage. The Mini has 45.9. All this is pissing into the wind, if you'll excuse the vernacular and the basic sentiment. Because the real thing that's happened here is they've attempted to move people away from a spray meta by strengthening bolt actions, by strengthening DMRs, and by weakening spray weapons, or at least one spray weapon. The DP28. They lowered the headshot damage and they lowered the rate of fire. But they didn't do anything to the M416 and the SCAR-L. So I predicted that that wouldn't change the meta in any way towards DMRs, and it hasn't. What we are seeing though is even more people running M4s and SCARs and less people running DP28s because people notice when things aren't as effective as they used to be, and the DP is not as effective as it used to be. When things have low bullet speed, they perform well when targets are coming into them. When they have high bullet speed, they perform well wherever the target is because they can track and hit the target with little to no lead time. The SCAR-L and the M416 can still perform like that, and the DP just doesn't quite hit it anymore. The DP has 690 meters a second bullet speed, which is a lot less than the 937 meters a second bullet speed that you get on your top shelf Rolls-Royce 5.56 ARs. What does that all mean? Well, I think we're due for another change. I think at some point in the next few months, PUBG Mobile are going to bite the bullet and they're going to change the way ARs work. Now, I'm saying this purely from my standpoint as someone that runs the numbers and likes looking at balanced gameplay. It's not that I want to get those guns nerfed. I want every gun to be worthwhile, and I want the use of weapons to be situational, where a certain loadout has an advantage on another loadout, despite having disadvantages in other situations. And for that to be the case, you've got to have more balance in the force. You've got to have DMRs that are worth running, and you can't buff them anymore. If you buff DMRs anymore, they're going to be broken. They'll be OP. You can't make the SLR any better than it is now without making it stupid. But you can certainly lower the effectiveness of ARs as ranged weapons. That will change things up a lot. And I'm showcasing the Mini a lot here because I want it to be clear that the Mini 14 is still worthwhile. The things that I'm not showcasing here with the Mini are when you hit someone 4 times and they get behind a rock at 200 meters, because it just doesn't do enough damage. And they did try and negate that by lowering the damage drop off at distance for the Mini 14. And they did, but it was like half a point at 150 meters. I think it went from 44.3 to 44.8, which is excellent, but still not enough. It still doesn't do the damage that you need it to do to get the job done. I am very interested to see if they make any more balance changes, because the thing they've changed so much lately has been parts of the game. I mean, why use the SKS when you can do this? I mean, that's a 3x on a purportedly hard to control recoil machine like the M762, and this is not. Anyway, I'm Bushka. Thank you so much for watching. This is only a short one today because I don't think it's a topic that needs to be pounded on about more than I already pounded on about it. And I don't like making this up. Like, look at this thing. I can tap this just like a Mini, and that does fine. And I can then also switch it to full auto and do it. Or I can do that with a AKM. And AKM, in fact, has more damage than a Mini. Like, it's crazy to me that anyone would not just use an AR as a secondary weapon unless you're running like a Mark 14 or an SLR or a QBU. If they put the QBU on all maps, I'm in, baby. Take me to paradise, because that thing is broke. And if you don't know why, go and have a look at my ratings video. Okay, I'll tell you quickly. It's got 937 meters a second bullet speed. It has 54.8 damage base, which is more than an SKS, and it's got the recoil profile of a 5.56 weapon. That's right. It's fast, it hits hard, and it has flog all recoil. Until next time, look after yourselves, stay safe in the battlefield. I'm Bushka, you're the humans, you're beautiful, beautiful people. And as always, subscribe, like your veggies, eat your food, be nice to your mum, walk the dog. Bye for now.